My name is Koteka Wenda. I'm 21 years old, and I would describe myself as a Melanisian activist and also a digital storyteller, especially in this day and age. I like to use my social media platforms and any content to elevate my people's struggles and their voices. My heritage is that I'm West Papuan. My villages are Pugima and Pyramid, and those are villages that lie in the highlands regions of West Papua. And another island nation that I hold dearly to my heart is Papua New Guinea, and that's where I was born. I was born in Vanimo province in PNG, and I spent my first early breaths in a refugee camp, which is very unusual for newborns. And having this be my life story, beginning of my life story, it makes me really appreciate my parents and my mum especially, who obviously gave birth to me under such difficult situations. But as you can hear by my accent, I spent most of my childhood and my early years in England, and a lot of people kind of mistake my upbringing and think that I've probably forgotten about my heritage. But my parents, again, I have so much respect for them. They've raised me up to be very culture orientated, and I can speak Tok Pisin, Malay, English, and it's, I think for a lot of people who live overseas and diaspora, we've learned to adapt, and that's something that I'm very proud of personally. But yes, I am here in Fiji, a very beautiful nation with very lovely, kind people. Not on holiday, but to lobby for my people. I'm currently traveling alongside my father, Benny Wenda, and so far I'm learning so much, and I realise that although I'm young, it means that I have so much energy to give and so much to soak in and contribute to my people's fight for independence. As I mentioned, my family story starts in our motherland, in the island of New Guinea. So I mentioned I was born in a refugee camp. So my early memories were spent alongside my mother. My father was a prominent leader inside West Papua, and he organised many meetings and protests to mobilise the people of West Papua. And at that time, in the early 2000s, there were talks of self-determination and independence. So in the early 2000s, my father played a prominent role in mobilising the people of West Papua, and the same message has not changed from then until now. From the early 60s, it's always been independence. It's always been justice for our elders and our family. And his work, it basically led to him getting arrested in 2002. He was arrested and detained and threatened with 25 years imprisonment for his work, just because he was fighting for freedom for his people. West Papua is a heavily militarized zone, and it's currently occupied by Indonesia. The Indonesian military and security forces have a track record of more than 50 years of human rights abuses. And so my dad, being a young Melanesian man, he sacrificed a lot for his people, and it ended up with him being put behind bars. So my early memories of my father, a lot of other young people, when they think about their childhood, they think of holidays or fun times. But for me, it was definitely seeing my father behind prison bars, and me and my mum would go and visit him and smuggle food. And again, all the charges and all the accusations against my dad were completely false. And this is typical for lots of West Papuan leaders who speak the truth. They get charged with false allegations, and by the grace of God, he managed to escape and came to the UK in 2003. And meanwhile, my mother and I, we were in hiding. We didn't actually realize that my father escaped until later on. We thought maybe he was assassinated in prison, because whilst he was behind bars, there were so many death threats, and he, faced a lot of abuse from the prison system. So my life story, it's not a cute story. It's not an easily to express story. It's a miracle. It's an extraordinary tale, and I'm here speaking with the Pacific Council of Churches, and whenever I hear this story, whenever I hear my father telling this story, I can't help but think about how amazing and how powerful our God is. And, I described myself at the start as being a young Melanisian activist and digital storyteller, but I'm also a practicing Christian, and I believe that from the very beginning, God was with us, and he continues to be with us as we fight in this campaign. 2003, that's when my family, the three of us, my mum, my dad and me, were reunited in London together. And my father, he always reminds me and my siblings that we didn't come to England to seek a better life, for a nice time. We came here for our people, and we're on a mission. So in the years that followed, the Free West Papua campaign was founded, and it began. And my father, my whole childhood, he's been out of the country, traveling around the world, the Pacific, Africa, America, Europe, simply telling the story of our people. And we're very grateful for the British government for granting us political asylum. And now we're British citizens as well. But with this freedom, we realize that we have an opportunity, a privilege that cannot be ignored or downplayed, because a lot of our people back home don't have the opportunities that we do. I mean, I can speak English, for example, and I have a British passport, which means traveling and lobbying for our people is something that I can do and will continue to do. Can you remind me, what was the question again?
It was about your family's journey.
Yes, the journey. So I'm also the eldest of 6 siblings. We are a big family, and we're your typical Pacific Island family in that we sing, we dance, and we practice culture. And I think having a big family means that we never missed out on that West Papuan community. Living in exile can be quite sad at times, because it means we are, separated from our family back home. But with the use of social media and like WhatsApp and Facebook, we are constantly in communication with our family. But I think my family's journey is one of hardship, but also one of great beauty, because we're able to carry ourselves with immense pride, and we're able to practice our culture, a culture which is currently facing extinction. It's currently facing exploitation, and the fact that me and my siblings are still alive and still practicing it is a huge testimony to our parents and to God's provision as well. But yes, our journey it's a very difficult story to tell. Sometimes it brings us to tears, but it's a story that definitely deserves to be heard.